So here's a satellite image. Here's a typical satellite image, and what we see here, what stands out is our cold front. Now the white represents clouds. Clouds form along fronts. Cold air pushes up warm air when they meet together. And again, anytime you have warm rising air, it cools, condenses, and form clouds. Now, now, the main thing here, the reason why they form clouds, pardon me, the reason why they rise, because again, it's less dense. Warm air is less dense. Okay? Cold air or cooled air is more dense. So here, when you look at the animation, okay, the cold air or the cold front is advancing towards warm air. So along the front, you see this white appear. So essentially, the white represents clouds. So the warm air is being pushed up as it's rising. It cools, condenses, and forms clouds. Right? This is a fundamental fact that we have to know. So along front or along frontal boundaries, you're going to have cloud formation because air is rising. Right? So here's just the radar image of that satellite. So so the green and the yellows represent rain. The precipitation is rain. So anywhere near the yellows, the orange, and the red represent very heavy rain. And back here you have the blues represent snow. So there is some snow that's involved with this system. Okay, so again, as the front advances, you see it creates rain showers. And depending on the amount of moisture and temperature, it also creates some snow. Okay, so here's just an animation where we have the temperatures. Behind the front, the temperatures are in the 30s, and look at what happens as it's advancing. The temperatures are starting to lower. Okay, so again, we have cloud formation, and now this new air mass is taking over. This much colder air mass is advancing through and taking over. And again, notice the direction of where it's pointing. Right? It's moving in this direction. Very important that we know how these fronts point, the direction at which that they point towards. All right, so here is, again, cold air. If you look at the temperatures, all right, they're mostly in the 40s and the 30s and some 20s, so we have cold air. And here we have warmer air. Okay, now, sometimes, and they'll ask this, where is the source? What is the source or the name of the air mass? Okay, so the air mass here would be MT, Maritime Tropical, and the source would be the Gulf of Mexico. Okay, and it's moving in this direction, towards the north. Here's our warm front, is the leading edge of warm air. Behind here we have our cold front, and they could ask what type of air mass. It could be either continental Arctic, or if it's really cold, continental polar. And it's moving in this direction, towards the warm air. So again, they clash. And where they clash, they form clouds and have precipitation. Notice as how the front has advanced, the temperatures have decreased. The temperatures are decreasing. And the warm air, okay, it's almost as if the warm air is being squeezed out. Again, this would be maritime tropical air, and this would be continental Arctic or continental polar air. Now, here's a typical side view or cross-sectional view, they ask this a lot. You have cold air advancing towards warm air, and it's showing you how the warm air is being pushed up. As it's being pushed up, you have cloud formation. At some point, as the air rises, it reaches the dew point temperature, okay, and condensation begins. Here we have down below the picture of a warm front. Now, in this case, the warm air is overriding, okay, is overriding the cold air. In this case, the warm air can't push out the cold air because, again, cold air is more dense. Warm air is less dense, so it's going to rise on top. But again, being that is rising air, it's going to cool, condense, and form clouds. Okay, so here's a typical Regents question that they tend to ask from time to time. And here are the clues. You have cool, dry air. Okay, cool, dry air that's advancing. And you have warm, moist air. And look what's forming. You have the formation of clouds. Okay, so clouds are forming and the air is rising. So you have cloud formation, and at the same time, we are experiencing precipitation or rain. So, in terms of the question, which type of weather front is shown? Well, cold air is advancing towards warm, moist air. It can be a warm front because the warm air is not advancing towards cold. It's not an occluded front because we don't have two different or two cool air masses and one warm air masses. Stationary, it's not stationary because we can see based on the arrow that is moving forward. So the best choice would be our cold front.